Forbes India GCC Leadership Exchange in association with Smartworks.
Hello and welcome to the Forbes India GCC Leadership Exchange in association with Smartworks. This is the Hyderabad edition, and I'm Ridu Bhandari. Hyderabad has emerged as India's leading global capability hub through its talent, infrastructure, and ambition. But as geopolitical shifts, rapid technological change, and economic uncertainty reshape the business landscape, GCC leaders face a bigger challenge. Not just where to build, but how to build organizations that endure. Today, four industry leaders come together here to share how they are building resilient GCCs through talent, infrastructure, leadership, and culture, and what it takes to really thrive in an increasingly uncertain world. Please join me in welcoming from my far right, Navaneet Mishra, SVP and Head Hexagon R&D India. Next, we are also joined by Vishal Augustya, Country Lead and Consulting Head Global Delivery Unit at Fujitsu India. Let's also welcome our next speaker, Sandesh Pawar, Director, Global Engineering Services, Antolin. And we are also joined by Harsh Binani, co-founder Smartworks. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here today in Hyderabad. Pleasure to have you all with us. Well, Harsh, you are the enabler on the panel. So let me begin with you first. Give us a sense of, what the play for Smartworks is in Hyderabad to start with, and then let's get on to what's happening in the GCC space with respect to Smartworks.
In India, of course, GCC has seen a meaningful evolution. Back 2 decades or earlier, the play was largely around cost arbitrage. Then, of course, it evolved to capability arbitrage. And today, as we look at how the world is shaping and how technology is evolving at the rapid pace it does, having a infrastructure which scales with your need and has the speed yet the predictability is what has been the cornerstone of how Smartworks has been able to seize this opportunity. And I would not be surprised to say that this is one of the largest gold rush that India has seen in the last 5 years. And it does not look like it's actually going to stop anytime soon. And just look at the terrific example of Hyderabad. Arguably, it is the GCC capital of the world. We're not talking about India here. We're talking about how many GCCs have actually come in the last 5 years. And the pipeline also looks very solid. And Hyderabad has been an extremely important market for us, not only because there's a lot of incoming demand for a lot of global companies, but the city has turned extremely attractive. And we oftentimes think about how, you know, companies make cities attractive, but Hyderabad has just had this entire aura around how talent density is very deep, how its cost competitiveness has turned it into a strategic advantage. And right through the last 2 decades, it's seen a fair amount of policy stability. So, from our vantage point, we want to do more of Hyderabad. Of course, we are spread across India, but Hyderabad is where we would say a lot of nerve center is, and it continues to be a preferred choice. And we continue to take the cues, from the leaders in the room. Otherwise, in enabling the core infrastructure that allows them speed to scale up, especially in times such as now, where technologies become so fast and perhaps in some manner shaped and uncertainty is someone's mind, that you can't continue to work in the infrastructure of 2 decades back, where real estate used to be a static asset. Today, it needs to be offering you the flexibility to continue to scale up very quickly. And if you think about the journey also of a GCC, they need that immediate space to begin with before they are ready to accelerate and exactly find out where they need to scale up. That is where Smartworks role comes in, and we are very excited to continue deepening our partnership and presence in Hyderabad now.
Let's move to what exactly is happening in each of the GCCs, each of the companies that are here today. Navneet, now you've guided Hexagon Capability Center India from a relatively small operation to becoming Hexagon's largest R&D hub globally. Now, how has your thinking around resilience, around risk management evolved over the last couple of years, especially as the capability center has grown as well?
Yeah, thank you. So when we talk about resilience, it means you are able to perform even when the weather is not good. I mean, the basic definition of resilience. So what we did is we took those baby steps. For example, okay, if they are saying we are good at technology, let's be the best in technology. That was the easy step. Then we said, okay, now that we are good in technology, and if we also ask people to be multi-skilled, then we can take the product owner or product manager role. And once we took those product manager, product owner role, then we said, okay, now we can have vice presidents with global budget authorities. So if you take these steps one by one, you see that natural growth is happening because more and more responsibilities naturally start coming here. But this is possible because you are able to say the scale is with us, the speed is with us, and we are ready to reskill ourselves. So this is how we build the resilience. Risk was not so difficult. I think risk is you have to understand that each customer. So if I have some divisions or some BUs in Europe versus some are in US or some are in, I don't know, Australia, they will be different. And the moment we take that lens and ask, okay, where he or she is in the journey to give us the responsibility, and based on that, we approach those things. So yes, there were a few failures, but eventually what we said that if we understood the culture of our global counterparts, the risk was really not there.
Vishal, building on that, now you've described Fujitsu's new GCC as more than just a workplace investment. How does the design of the workspace shape your culture, strengthen your entire business, and really help get the best out of your people? Are there tangible benefits that you see?
So I think if you look at the kind of workspaces or the office space that we have, it's more like an extension of our core values, uh, our aspirations, our ambitions that we have in our journey. We are, in fact, now a 91-year-old organization, the Fujitsu. And in India, we are now a 20-year-old organization, Fujitsu India. So, what we believe in is creating a kind of physical environment where people can come together, they can ideate on things, they can co-create, they can focus on innovation, which is obviously now the biggest focus. I think if you look at how GCCs are evolving, right? So how we can create some spaces for the people where they can freely ideate. There are scope for them to experiment, uh, and even if they fail, it's okay. I mean, in some cases you can fail because unless you are not experimenting, you will not be able to come up with new things. So I think our cornerstone is how we can evolve, how we can grow, because there are a lot of challenges that we have seen in this journey and will continue to have, as he also mentioned. I mean, the challenges, the disruptions will keep coming, but are we giving the kind of physical space to our people where, and when I say physical, not just the seating space, but the kind of ecosystem that we have created for them. Like if I talk about my Pune office, we have a lot of open areas where people can just walk around. In fact, I take pride in saying that we have a very unique butterfly garden in our Pune campus. And I would invite all of you to please have a look. It's one of the unique things. People just stroll around that at any point of time, and they do a lot of formal, informal discussions, and it helps them to really have a very open mind when they have these kind of discussions. So I think overall the focus has been to see how people can come together, they can ideate, they can co-create, and most important thing is customer centricity is at the heart of what we discuss. So the biggest thing is customer. Around that, we try to see how we can evolve, we can grow, and then we can solve the toughest of the customer challenge.
Sandesh, coming to you as well. Now, uh, tell us a little bit about how Antolin sees the strategic value of its India operations. Antolin divested 3 manufacturing entities to Sriram Pistons and Rings in 2025. But as far as the India centers are concerned, Pune, Hyderabad centers held very close. How do you see, how does the parent company really look at these centers and the strategic value coming out of these? And how do you see these evolving over the next couple of years?
From Antolin perspective, India is not just they are not just focusing here on the manufacturing side. But basically now we have been positioned as a global competency center and the innovation hub. Antolin GCC is evolved, like we started 24 years back doing small basic engineering activities. And today, if you look at us, we are doing all the end-to-end execution of all global programs from India. Okay. So there is no particular skill set or probably the service which we do everything here from them. So, in fact, now we are going to focus more on delivering more high value added engineering activities. We are going to focus on digital transformation, implementing all new initiatives in terms of AI, ML technologies. So, that's our strategy. We are going to explore the full potential what lies in India in order to give it to our global Antolin centers.
Well, Harsh, now the GCC, landscape in Hyderabad, of course, has GCCs from many different sectors. Now, at Smartworks, how do you ensure that while there is standardization of what you offer to every GCC, there is also customization because different sectors have different requirements, different organizations have different requirements, right? And how do you really walk the tightrope between those?
Hyderabad has, in fact, been one of the most unique experiments when it comes to the GCC composition, because nowhere you'll find the level of diversity that you actually see in Hyderabad. And we've had multiple such offices, right, where literally you could separate it by a few square foot. And this is a high-end semiconductor R&D facility, which requires a very different setup. On the other end, you could have like a lot of data driven AI and engineering talent, which requires a very different security setup. And of course, Hyderabad has originally been the global roadmap for life sciences and pharma. So all of them come with different security and compliances. Every one of them has different talent considerations. Some of them might need a more heavy collaborative space, like the new age AI talent, less headcount, but more collaborative and open spaces. Life sciences and pharma need a lot more secure environment. But throughout all of these different levels of offices, what we've seen, one common theme obviously has been the standardization part, which we often miss, because customization can only be built with standardization at scale. And what we've over a period of time been able to design on the back end is that your office will always be your environment, which needs to be completely customized to your needs. But the basic nuts and bolts that you require to get that up and running, if you're able to standardize that, that gives you a superpower, which is superpower of ensuring that your cost structure goes down, yet you have speed. So for us, it's a new challenge, and Hyderabad, of course, is more challenging than other markets, but that has also allowed us to evolve the product, and we are still continuing to learn. I would say the demands are also evolving quite a bit, but customization is core of what you need to offer to your client, but on that is built on a very solid pillar and foundation of standardization.
Absolutely. Well, Navneet, you're operating a center that's really at the cutting edge of technology. Now, how do you distinguish then between disruption that you need to protect yourself against versus disruption that is, you know, that usually comes as part of the evolution? And where do you place AI in the mix?
Yeah. So disruption that is tricky, and I would call about like COVID break or post COVID, when work from home started becoming a phenomena, uh, and that affected a lot of the world. Yeah, so it's not only India, and I have heard this from the global as senior vice presidents as well, that now in these countries, because of excessive work from home, they can only do tasks and can't take responsibilities, if you understand the difference. Because these people are newly hired, they have never visited any office. They are just giving a task, being given a task. They finish it in time, obviously, in good quality, obviously, but they have no idea what the company culture is all about, what customer expects from this, what do we stand for. So this disruption I will put in the area of which you want to protect against. That would mean a lot of communication, because now employees take work from home as a perk. They demand it, they ask for it, they have the built-in logics for it. They will compare you with other companies. They have more data than you. So this is something which we have to communicate a lot, and we have to say why we should still be coming X days a week or X days a month, whatever that our formula is. And that is something which needs a lot of work of day-to-day communication through yourself, through your managers, through everyone, showing the value, etc. And then the other one, the good ones, disruption is like AI. When you know that, okay, now there is a fast horse in the town and you should ride it to win the race instead of getting worried about what is going to happen. I mean, this is tool, this beautiful tool, but now you are going one value up. Everybody now wants dramatic output because they think AI can solve everything, and we are behind in terms of solving it.
Right, right. All right. Well, Vishal, now Fujitsu's transformation from a company known for hardware and infrastructure to software led, AI driven services requires not just capabilities, but a huge cultural shift as well. So, at Fujitsu India's GCC, how are you operationalizing this cultural shift, and what does this demand from you as a leader also?
So I think, first of all, as you said, I mean, we have evolved. I mean, we are a company which has continuously evolved with the changing times. And I think that continues and will continue. In fact, we have already laid out our 2035 vision, which is when we will complete our 100 years. So what we are doing is, first of all, there is a lot of focus in terms of customized trainings for our people. And when I say people, not just the developer level, but top to bottom. So right from our vice presidents to the lowest rung in the hierarchy, there are customized trainings being done for the people, what kind of role they are playing. So if I'm a developer, if I'm a tester, if let's say I'm a project manager, so there is a lot of focus in terms of job level specific trainings that we are doing, reskilling, upskilling, and not just theoretical training, but a lot of on the job kind of training. So there are projects which are given to them, which actually enables them to use the technologies or the trainings that they have undertaken. And that is where they learn a lot. As a leader, I think the important thing is, no longer are the days when you are just directing the team. To all of us, I think as leaders have to be facilitators. You have to create and give that kind of ecosystem where the people really challenge themselves, you challenge each other to question things, to learn things, to co-create. Uh, they also should have that kind of no fear approach, yeah, where they can actually try to do certain things. And it's okay at times if you are failing, because eventually you will learn from that failure, right? So I think these are some of the things that we take care of. And there's also a lot of focus from our headquarters, which is Japan. We have developed certain platforms on AI, which are obviously big in terms of the kind of exposure that they have in the market. So all these trainings also continuously is happening with our team. And as I said, right from the leadership level to the lowest level in there.
Fantastic. Sandesh, now at Antolin, your role goes much beyond just engineering. You have strategy, execution, finance, people all rolling into you. How does having this broader leadership charge really enable you to make the GCC much more future ready, much more resilient? Of course, I'm sure it's a lot of work, too many things to handle, too many fires to douse on a daily basis. But is that a boon to have?
I must tell you, like nowadays, the leadership should go beyond engineering. You cannot just limit it to one specific role, okay? Because you have an opportunity there, all in all the areas. Whatever we do here in Antolin in terms of engineering or anything, I feel you have an opportunity to grow in multi-field sectors there, okay? If you get those additional responsibilities, you can definitely steer the GCC in a better way. You can give them more responsibilities, you can take more ownerships in India, and you can help them to grow steadily, okay? For example, in case of Antolin, we have a centralized hub where we do the design, we do the engineering. On top of it, we are also doing business services, and we are also driving the digital initiatives. Since all of them are under one leadership, it helps us to give a quicker responses. It helps us to have a faster decision making. Today, we are one of the major delivery center in terms of engineering. For example, we say that we proudly say like we do it around 30 to 40% of the global engineering activities from India. Okay, we would like to take it to another 60 to 80%, and our target is let's be more independent. Let's showcase what we can deliver from India, the full potential. Okay. And I think this is our wish, and we are taking different steps to go in that direction.
So while we are talking, Harsh, of this phenomenal growth that Hyderabad and India at large are going to see as far as GCCs are concerned, how do you expect your relationships with GCCs evolving in the next couple of years? Do you think the demands are going to change? Uh, what are the big trends that you are placing your bets on?
We're always evolving our product to meet the customer needs, and nowhere in time have we seen the needs to be as rapidly changing as it is now. And that is also because the technology change is unprecedented. And wherever we are having all of these conversations with leaders, etc., the question remains the same: how can you enable me to be very predictable in a very uncertain world? Which is where it gives us a lot of confidence that as long as there is continuing to be growth, and growth is coming with a lot of uncertainty, resilience is something that we've seen amply across board in India. We just want to continue making sure that the macro story of India today, just to give you a anecdote, right? Like entire India's office space today is less than New York and London. So you can only imagine in the next 2 decades if India has to become more developed. On one end, you need more Indian companies adopting modern workforce, modern office space, because we all know today the challenge is not really hiring talent, it's about attracting and retaining talent. And without having great spaces, collaboration, all the aspirational amenities, it's not going to happen. But what we believe is actually going to be one of the big mega trends is the fact that India will continue to be the most appropriate choice for a lot of global companies coming and setting up shop. So the twin engines of Indian companies needing more aspirational space and growing, and alongside India being the office capital to the world. We believe as long as both of these mega trends pay out, we are in business.
Vishal, Fujitsu has embraced a hybrid work model for a long time now. What really drove that decision? And as far as the GCC is concerned, does the hybrid model really work well, or at some point you expect everyone back in office?
No, I don't think at least for next few years we will see that we are asking people to come to work all the days. I think hybrid model works for us very beautifully because first of all, post COVID, I think during COVID we all got used to working from home on a consistent basis, right? So there is definitely that advantage that people have already seen while they are working from home. You can have probably you can save some time in terms of traffic. You can also attend to some of your personal things and still you work, like you don't have to take leave and all. So I think that aspect still gives you a flexibility as an employee to work from home. But why we want people to come to office on at least certain specific days or x number of days is because you also eventually it's a team sport, right? Whatever we deliver is eventually a teamwork. So just staying at home and delivering, plus you also coming to office, celebrating with your team members, sharing at times the pains of your team members. That is also very important when you have some failures. So I think that combination works very well for us. That's why we're going to continue with the hybrid.
Sandesh, as a partner to some of the world's largest automotive OEMs, how is Antolin preparing really for the ripple effects that come with uncertainties? We are going to see a lot of electrification, we are seeing supply chain shifts, we are seeing geopolitical uncertainties. As far as automotives are concerned, the sector itself is seeing a lot of change in terms of being more sustainable, electrification, autonomous vehicles, lots and lots of uncertainties in that bag. So give us a sense of, how are you preparing to really address some of these ripple effects that happen?
We are monitoring all these, what you said, the electrification, supply chain disruptions. No, so we are closely monitoring all these issues. Um, just to tackle it, we are trying to be more flexible. Okay, so in terms of our operations, the scalability and the flexibility is very important. Um, we are we have to adjust with our capacities in a different way than before. Second one is in terms of standardizations, we are bringing the standardizations across different products so that we can have a better traceability, and then it will help us to mitigate the risk at the different levels. Okay. And the third one is in terms of having a better understanding with your customers, which is the most important thing. You need to have a close alignment with them. You should know what is their future roadmaps. You should know what they are doing it across different platforms, different regions, so that you can fulfill their needs. So this is the way basically we are trying to help them in these situations. Uh, we want to anticipate the risk before it happens. So we are trying to bring that proactive approach in our operations to support this, to come out of this situation.
All right. Well, I'm going to lighten it up for this next round of questions. I'm going to give each one of you one unique question, and you have to give me an answer in maybe 30 seconds each. Okay. So, Navneet, let's start with you. What's more important for resilience? Predicting disruption or adapting quickly?
Predicting disruption, yeah, that is always with the advantage, because you then already can plan ahead of others, and you can, whether it is organization or technology or ramp up of people or ramp down of people, all these things can be handled much better if you are able to predict this disruption. Yes.
All right. Vishal, what is the most underrated risk facing global enterprises today?
I
A
think
risk we don't think about often enough.
at times we tend to get into comfort zone. We start resting on our past laurels. And if you look at the way things are I mean, the speed of disruption is now tremendous. Maybe earlier technologies were changing, let's say 5 to 7 years. Now, every 1 year you are hearing a new term related to AI or something completely different. So I think uh, getting into comfort zone is probably the most uncomfortable thing right now.
Sandesh, in a few words, what do you think is the most important quality of a resilient GCC leader today?
In my opinion, it's adaptability. Okay. You should be ready to adjust with any situation. Your people are going to see you. If you are flexible, you are adaptable, they will also follow the same.
Harsh, um, what is a trend that every GCC leader should be really watching out for today?
Well, for a moment, it's good not to be in the hot seat of all the uncertainty, etc., because we are, of course, big beneficiaries of this entire uncertain trend. But having said that, uh, speed to market is one defining factor which we've seen. As sir also pointed out, that many times if you are following a mega trend, you have to do a lot more catch up. But if you're able to even predict that mega trend and really get fast to adapt that speed to market, it can be a significant source of competitive advantage, because times have changed now. The pace at which technology is changing, you can either play catch up or you can be the leader who can really differentiate yourself from the rest of the pack.
Finally, if you had to imagine your GCC in 2030, what would be one area that you would really be future proofing it starting now?
Multi-skilled talent and talent who is ready to learn. That's what will be the base of it. Yes.
Learnability, adaptability, and flexibility. I think these three are the core. Whatever technologies will come and go, I think if these three are there in my workforce, I think we will be able to survive, thrive, and succeed.
Fully agree with him. I think learning, adaptability, and the flexibility, scalability.
And Harsh, if you had to future proof Smartworks, what's one area that you would be focusing on or you are already focusing on right now?
Spend more time with all of them to know what's the next big mega trend and where should we be having more foot in the door. They are the ones who are enabling all of this.
Well, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us at the Hyderabad edition of the Forbes GCC Leadership Exchange. Absolute pleasure talking to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice conversation. Thank you for enabling.
Well, the message from this conversation is clear. Resilience is built through the choices organizations make every day, developing talent, nurturing culture, investing in infrastructure, and confronting risk. Hyderabad's GCC ecosystem has earned its reputation by making all of those choices consistently and at scale. The leaders here are shaping a future defined not just by growth, but by lasting impact. That's a wrap of the Hyderabad edition of the Forbes India and Smartworks GCC Leadership Exchange. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Until next time, it's goodbye.
Forbes India GCC Leadership Exchange in association with Smartworks.